Adaptive AF.
Hello, and welcome to Adaptive AF, the podcast where disability runs unfiltered. Join us as we laugh through the chaos of disabled life, drag the uncomfortable stuff out into the limelight, and finally answer the questions everyone's too scared to ask but always whisper about. I'm EJ.
Dave.
And we're here to talk about disability the way it actually is, not the soft inspiration porn crap people imagine. The real version. The hospital sagas, the campus disasters, the people who mean well but absolutely botch the landing, the social weirdness, the hilarious accidents, and the everyday logistics that would break most people. If it's part of disabled life, the good, the exhausting, the ridiculous, we're covering it. Loudly, honestly, and of course, with zero filters. Welcome to Adaptive AF. Let's get into it. All right. So, I was thinking for our debut episode, we should start by explaining what makes us Adaptive AF. Sound good to you, Dave?
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Great. I'll kick it off. So, hello. I am disabled. I don't know if you picked that up from the cover art or if my voice gave it away, but yeah. Full-time wheelchair user over here. I got diagnosed with Duchenne muscular dystrophy when I was like super small. Basically been living the crip life ever since. And because of that, I had to start advocating for myself pretty early, which kind of snowballed into all the advocacy stuff I do now. But honestly, at first, I didn't think of muscular dystrophy as this big, world-changing thing. I knew other people had it, but I didn't see myself as part of something bigger. That changed once I got involved with Parent Project. I started going to their conferences, did some advocacy stuff, including this trip to Washington, D.C., where we literally met with our representatives to talk about research funding. And I joined the Patient Adult Advisory Committee. Real grown-up stuff, apparently. Then I hit college and realized, oh shit, people actually don't know much about disability. Like, not in a bad way, it's just not something anyone teaches, unfortunately. Besides the Center of Accessibility Resources, like, I would hope they would understand that stuff, which they did. But besides them, most people were clueless. But the cool part, everyone was super chill about it when I advocated for myself. No weird energy, no overthinking it, just vibes. And honestly, in the best way possible, nobody gave a shit. Not like in high school where only a couple of my peers didn't care. In college, it was like, oh yeah, that's EJ. He's late to class again. And my friendship with Dave is pretty much the perfect example of that vibe. He's never treated me differently. I guess that's a good segue for you, huh?
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, no, since I think it was the first day you pulled up at marching band, like that first early practice, whatever it was. I just remember you were setting up all your technology stuff, the synthesizer, all the amps, the plugins, and you were like, "Hey, I need all these cables." And I was like, "Dude, I don't know what any of that means. I'm so sorry. I don't know if we have any of that stuff." But everyone we all kind of chipped in. We're like, "Okay, we're gonna learn as you learn. We'll try and figure it out."
Yeah, I don't think we really had any cables like the first practice. I
No, it took
think
us a while.
the director, he bought me like a cable like after the first week or something, which I don't know where the hell it is now. I think it's back home or something, but so yeah, if you're thinking, why are these assholes adaptive AF? Well, there you go, I guess. So, but the real bit of this episode, or like content of this, is something I like to call the incident, which happened back in August, sometime around there. But basically, what had happened was I fell out of my wheelchair. I my leg broke on impact, like my knee or whatever. And then that break caused a bunch of other shit to go wrong and a bunch of bad shit to happen. So prior to the fall, I had been in the band camp for our marching band a couple days prior to that. And one night during the week, we have a scavenger hunt, which is we go around checking off different campus hotspots. Mostly, I think it was more of a thing to get freshmen and those people oriented with the campus before classes start, which was kind of nice. So we had a scavenger hunt. It was a night after practice. I went back to my dorm prior to use the bathroom because that scavenger hunt, it usually takes a few hours. And I also changed into sweatpants because the sun was going down. I'm like, I'm going to be cold going around in shorts for the scavenger hunt. So I get changed, use the bathroom, etc., and then head over to our meetup spot to start the scavenger hunt, which I think they have everyone go to the lobby of the music building to start that. Um, so scavenger hunt starts. In the past, what do we usually, Dave? We went like to the furthest spot that's on the list. Which, by the way, they give us the same clues every year, so you can kind of game plan ahead of time. But our game plan every year was pick the furthest spot back and then work our way in.
Yeah, I mean, it really never worked for us, but that was the
Yeah,
strategy we used for 4 years.
yeah. So we tried it a little different this time. We're like, okay, we know there are like a million clues that are in the music building. So now that we're here and everybody else is running around like lunatics looking for the other stuff, we can just get it all locked in now and get everything in the building and then get the stuff outside. So we did that after we got all that stuff. There's some stuff in the academic quad we could get. So we did that while we were again in that area. So for like the first time, we were making pretty great time. Not like we had been making bad time before that, but this time was a little bit different. So we're doing great. We finished up with all that stuff in the academic quad around this area of campus. And then we're at the point now where we have to get everything that's on the other side of there's like a bridge that runs through campus that we had to go over. So we get over to that bridge, we get to the top of it, and we're about to head over to go down, and my chair dies. I think I forgot to have it plugged in last night, so that'll do it, I guess. But dies. Now what the fuck am I supposed to do, right? So I'm not too concerned about it because this happens plenty of times before. I've had you've been there for some of it, Dave, where I've had people push the chair. One of the aides we had, she was like really stubborn or like set in her ways about pushing it, but she was like sweating bullets and running out of breath going up the ramp. Because again, this chair is pretty damn heavy. It's 450 pounds. I'm about 110. So all in all, that's a bit of a beast to be pushing.
Yeah, and it's not a smooth ride. Like we're basically, even though it's in neutral, right? Like it's not like a cart. You're not just like it doesn't
But
keep rolling. You have to keep
yeah,
moving it.
well, especially because it's against gravity in that situation.
Right. Yeah, she refused to let anybody else push it.
Yeah,
She was
she's like,
dying.
"No, I got it. No, I got it." Stopping when she could stop, catching her breath. Like I think she ran out of breath by the end of it.
And then she was mad at the end. She's like, "Why didn't anybody help me?" We just
You wouldn't let us. We tried. We tried. That was hilarious.
we gotta keep a list of people to bring onto the podcast. That'd be kind of
Yeah, give them some uh, alter egos or pseudonyms to refer to them by. Um, but anyway, so as I just mentioned, chair dies, I'm used to people pushing it, but I completely forgot about how heavy this chair is. And I mean, understandably so. It's not like I'm seeing how heavy it is. I drive it with power controls. I don't have to worry about the weight of this thing. Um, so I'm not thinking about that. Ignoring the fact that I have to go down a ramp, they not even up. They have to push this heavy ass chair down the ramp. So if they lose control, I'm flying down at the bottom and like totally wrecking my chair up. So I have someone in the section that's with us push the chair down the ramp. Um, Again, disregarding weighted wheelchair and physics. And also worth mentioning, I never put my seatbelt back on when I changed into sweatpants. So if I was going to fall out of this thing, I was hitting the ground, no questions asked, right away. So they're pushing this chair down the ramp. Understandably so, they're losing control of the chair a little bit because it's a heavy bitch. But the chair snags on the railing, and the momentum of that launches me out of the chair. Again, if I had my seatbelt on, maybe I wouldn't have been launched out. But again, we're beyond that point at this point. So once the adrenaline wears off of falling out of that chair, and again, I think I hit my knee pretty hard when I fell out of it, which is also kind of scary. Like, whatever, I bet you can figure it out.
You hit your head too, right? Because
I think I did.
when I
Did
saw
I
you at
have
the
like a
hospital,
gash on my forehead or
you
something?
did. It was like it wasn't horrible, but there was definitely some scratch marks on your forehead.
Yeah, I did. Like, so I got like the momentum was weird. Like, I started to sit forward, but once I get past a certain point, you've seen it, I can't really keep myself from going the rest of the way forward.
Oh
So I
yeah.
started going a little bit, and then all of a sudden I'm out of the chair, basically did like some somersault or shit like that. Had a pretty big gash on my head. Did not get a concussion, or at least I wasn't diagnosed with one. Who knows? Maybe I did. But again, it really wasn't that bad of a hit. But after the adrenaline wears off, I start to notice that knee starting to hurt a pretty good bit. And I'm like, shit, it's fucking broken, isn't it? So whoever's with us, I have them call my dad. Actually, I think they had us call uh, one of our friends in the like one of the mellophones, had them call her. She, of course, did not pick up, but
Why, why did you call? What?
I don't know. I don't know why, but I did. I mean, I figured she probably was busy with the scavenger hunt. She was probably one of the people in the clues or something like that. But anyway, so then next I have a call my dad, and he comes over. I think he's over back at Stanton. They're like, "Hey, Elliot just fell out of his chair." So he comes over after like a few minutes. Nice voice crack, huh? And I explained to him, "Dad, I'm pretty worried. I think I broke my leg." And he is not concerned in the slightest. Because of course I'm afraid to miss school because last time I broke my leg, I was out of school for a couple months. But that was mostly because my aide could not lift me to save his life. I think that was more of the reason than
Mhm.
the fact it was broken. Um, but he comes over, he's like, "So what if you broke your leg? It's not like you're walking on it." And everybody there was like, "Damn." Like, they had no idea he was, like, that kind of person where he's like, "So what? You're not walking on it." It was pretty unhinged.
Meanwhile, all this, and you're in like an actually serious situation.
Yeah. Like, "Okay, so what? Maybe I broke my leg, but I don't wanna be out of school for, like, a month and a half," which probably wouldn't have happened. But anyway, they have an ambulance come over to take me to Hershey Medical Center, and that is the last thing I remember. So my dad comes to meet us at the hospital, and by the time he gets there to find me, I am completely loopy, completely out of it. And you're probably sitting there thinking, "Well, you hit your head, right?" Maybe that was part of it. It had nothing to do with the fact that I bumped my head, but rather I developed something they call fatty embolism syndrome, which in Duchenne, I have to take steroids. That's one of the standards of treatment for that condition. But the steroids make your bones pretty weak and brittle. And FES is a common after effect in breaks. And it's much more likely to occur when the area of the brake is not properly immobilized. And of course, because I was experiencing pain in my knee, especially when it was straightened, I had someone sit there and hold it bent, like at the ramp when I fell out of the chair, not anyone in the ambulance, but because they probably would have immobilized it. But when that happens, fatty embolism syndrome is basically when fat globules are released into the bloodstream after the break, which I think in most people that usually happens when the break goes down to the marrow. But for me, because my bones are so weak, that's not really necessary. That just happens as is. And like my family was aware of fatty embolism syndrome. Most of us in the Duchenne community are. The Parent Project Muscular Dystrophy, they actually had an info session on fatty embolism. And of course, they said, like, the best way to prevent that is to wear your seatbelt. Well, thanks. Can't really do anything about that now.
Super helpful.
And they also did not tell any of us through that you got to keep the broken area immobilized because that would have probably helped it more than me falling out of my chair, you know?
Right.
But FES in general, if the globules don't enter your brain, it's not as serious. But of course, that they went right to my brain for me because I have a something they call a PFO. Ask me the acronym. I have no idea. You'll have to look it up on your own. Um, to everybody listening, that was why I was so loopy and out of it because I essentially had a few mini strokes in my brain or a few mini strokes in general. So yeah, that was I was unconscious for a lot of it. Um, but the ICU staff, because my dad was there with him and he was trying to explain to them it's fatty embolism syndrome. And most other people in the community were like, it's FES, like no question. But the ICU staff were unwilling to accept that that's what it was because they were like,
No, it needs to break down to the marrow for that to happen.
my dad's like, yeah, and most people it does. But with his condition, it's not like that. So, of course, even though Hershey Medical is a Duchenne certified clinic, apparently they don't train all their staff on it, maybe just the people in the Duchenne specific clinics. But the ICU staff were unaware of that whole thing because likely they're not trained on that in their education, or what they are trained on is not directly applicable to DMD. Another thing they tried to do is they tried putting me on oxygen, which is something you're definitely not supposed to do in Duchenne. Um, because of my weaker respiratory system, because again, Duchenne affects all muscles. My lungs are not strong enough to release the carbon dioxide buildup that'll happen from over intake of oxygen, you know?
Mhm. Oh, so what? They were just filling you up like a balloon for a little bit, right?
Yeah, and then I was getting a little bit better, but I went all sorts of loopy all over again, like after like maybe 15 minutes of them putting me on the oxygen. And my parents were like, do not put him on the oxygen. I know one guy, he was in like a psychiatric ward and they were trying to put him on oxygen. He's like, do not put me on oxygen. Again, this is like apparently a big thing in the community that I had no idea about,
Hmm.
but that is pretty much like a good stopping point for the for my end of it. That's probably right around where you came into the picture, Dave.
I mean, yeah, dude, I had texted you like the day before and you always respond. So the fact that like several hours went by, I'm like, oh, he must be busy. And like a day went by, I'm like, oh shit, like hope he's all right. I didn't know any of this. Like nothing. It must have taken me what 3 days before finally I heard. I don't know, dude. It's not a good look.
No,
But
it's all
eventually,
right.
one of your aides texted their friends who texted me, and they were like, "Hey, you should probably check on EJ, or at least like call one of his parents." So I did. I called your mom, and then even she was like, "If you have time, you should probably drive to the hospital today." I was like, "Holy shit."
'Cause they also
Um,
didn't think I was gonna make it at that point. That might have been part of it.
I thought, yeah, dude, the way she said that, I thought she was like, "Get down here now before he dies." I'm like, "Oh, fuck." So I hit, at least 100 on the highway. That trip should have taken me 2 hours. I was there in like 90 minutes.
That's
I was cruising.
hilarious.
Well, I didn't
Flying.
fuck, dude, I didn't know what was going on because I had no details. And then I started texting everyone else who had seen the accident, who, like, knew this was happening. They never reached out to me. Told
That
them, like, you
sucks.
yeah, when I told them you were in the hospital, like, almost dead, like, nobody could believe it. And by the time, like, from when you broke the bone to in the ambulance to basically fully unconscious, unresponsive, that was like a 20-30 minute period, right?
Yeah.
That was super short.
Yeah. So
So
fast.
they saw you hit, and then you were like, you didn't feel bad at the time. I know
I
it
was
like
still conscious and, I did not remember going into the ambulance or anything like that. So, it must have been starting to happen around that point, but everything before that, I was fully cognizant of.
yeah, so I think everyone was like, "Oh, he's got it, he broke his leg. That sucks. We'll see him, in a couple days. We'll probably go check on him." Meanwhile, as soon as those ambulance doors shut, dude, like
I was gone.
you were gone. You were gone. But yeah, so I guess that was the Sunday right before I started my master's degree.
Yeah.
So like that day, I drove down to see you. Um, yeah, you were completely out of it. Like we had one of our other good friends went with us, but like we were scared. We were really scared. We found your room, the floor, and we're walking down the hallway. Like we don't know what we're about to see. And when your mom came out, like she seemed like she was in a relatively good mood, like for the circumstances.
Yeah.
And so she was like, he's gonna be stable. Everyone thinks he's gonna be fine. Like, looks like whatever might have been happening had stabilized. So we went in, like, sometimes you would open your eyes, but you were completely out of it. Um,
Didn't I
but
open them when you mentioned the women's hockey team?
okay, I was good. Yeah, yeah. So this is how I knew you were gonna survive. Like you weren't responding to anything like physical touch or anything we were saying. Like you didn't like you wouldn't hold hands, you wouldn't speak, you wouldn't open your eyes. It wasn't until I said, like, I don't know what I said. It was like, "Hey man, you got to get out of this. The women's ice hockey team is going to play tomorrow." You opened your eyes. It was the first like that. I was, dude, for being in the ICU, I should not have been laughing that hard. It's just I was scared, and like that little bit was like, he's fine.
He he's gonna be okay.
He's gonna
He's
be
gonna get
okay.
out of it.
My boy's still in there.
He's still in there. Yeah, but I mean, I really appreciated, you and, some of my other good friends, our good friends, coming up to see me while I was there. Made it a lot more tolerable of an experience being in there. 'Cause, I was in there for a month and a half. It
Yeah,
fucking sucked.
I know.
It was
Like
awful.
you were stuck watching Harry Potter reruns because you couldn't get to the remote.
Yeah, my mom occupied the damn Harry Potter. She watches those movies way too many times. It's kinda ridiculous. But yeah, it was great. You guys coming there. It was nice getting to see the ice hockey, a couple of the ice hockey team players, come up to see me. They brought me a jersey, which is really great. I think it's my first, the first jersey I've gotten or owned, so which is pretty cool.
That's
Um,
cool.
but yeah, I was extubated. The hockey team, they didn't come till towards the end of my stay, which I mean, I'd prefer that it was towards the end because I was cognizant of it.
Mhm.
Um, but I was extubated after a few days of being. I was still unconscious at the time, but I came out of the extubation no problem. I was only extubated, no tube for a few days, and I think I was starting to get. I might have been cognizant around that point, but they had to reintubate me a few days after that, which totally sucked. But I woke up from the intubation procedure with an NG tube up my nose. I forget what the fuck that stands for again. Up my nose and down the back of my throat. And I woke up, I was like, "Can I have some Gatorade, please, or something?" And my mom's like, "You're not allowed to drink any liquid or eat anything. I think I was, like, on ice chips for, like, a really long time. I had the genius idea of when I was back home, because I was still on the damn ice chips, of, like, freezing some Gatorade and just munching on
Ooh,
that.
ooh.
That was a baller genius move.
Did you do it?
Oh, yeah, I did it.
Oh, yeah.
It was the best idea ever. Um, but I was not allowed to eat or drink, they said, until I passed a series of swallow tests. Um, so I was until I was allowed to do that, and I did not actually pass or get cleared to eat until a few weeks after I was discharged. I mean, I was on track to pass the final swallow study in the ICU, but like a small piece of a peach got lodged into a channel in my throat. Um, and then again, I couldn't pass it on my own. I could still breathe with it in there, but like a bunch of ENTs had to come in and like shove forceps down my throat to pull it out. Normally that wouldn't have bothered me, but it was the fact that it was like hitting my teeth. I'm like, if this makes my teeth fucking crooked, I'm going to lose my goddamn mind.
You wait, you had to you had to have people come in to pry something out of your throat, and you were worried about your teeth being crooked?
Yeah, because they were like pressing up on it and all that stuff. I know, ridiculous, right?
Oh, this is like you breaking your leg, almost dying. You're like, "Shit, I'm gonna miss class tomorrow." Like, you're the only one. It's
Yeah,
only
I
you.
am. Just me. Um, but yeah, so they're like, "We give up on the IC on the tests." They didn't tell me that, but they're like, "You need to schedule an outpatient swallow test, outpatient study after discharge," which was a huge pain in the ass to figure out, like, so bad. And it wasn't until, like, a few weeks after I was in outpatient, like, started outpatient, until I was able to do the actual test. And once I finally got clear, I was told I likely had these swallow struggles, prior to the fall, but the ICU only picked up on it because I had developed, like, some aspiring pneumonia or something like that. Um, wait, not aspiring. I had that misspelled in the notes. Aspirating pneumonia. Um, but yeah, like, the first thing I had that was back at the time where they had, like, the Cheddar Club commercials on Chick-fil-A every goddamn all the goddamn time. So every time I saw it, I was like, "That's the first thing I am eating. I want this club sandwich so bad." And, like, after only eating pureed foods for a while, which is what I was cleared to eat first, um, I was like it was the best thing I ever ate. I ate that so fast. Ate it down so fucking fast, it was crazy.
Chick-fil-A is not an accredited sponsor of, Adaptive AF.
Yeah, it is not. You can be if you wanna be, if you're listening, Chick-fil-A employees.
Free sandwiches,
Yeah,
free
free sandwiches.
sandwiches, free sandwiches.
So, yeah, swallowing all that stuff, figured out. Um, but I lost a lot of strength just being, sedentary in the hospital for a while, um, which was, to me, almost as scary as the FES stuff. Which again was probably because I was not conscious during the FES stuff, fatty embolism syndrome, if you remember. Um, but yeah, that was pretty scary to me because I'm like, what if I can't play keyboard anymore? What if I can't use my phone anymore? Which was also part of the struggle with you messaging me was I could not text back. A, I was unconscious, but B, like I had so many texts I had to text back to when I woke up that I had my mom just answer all the messages for me and like tell her what to say and answer, which I mean, took out all the usual cursing that I do. Had to refrain from a lot of that.
Yeah, it was a little too PG. I knew it was her.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was struggling to use my phone at first, eventually got that back. And I was still struggling to use my Rex arms, Wilmington robotic exoskeleton, which Believe me, I'll talk about those in another episode, I promise. Um, but as of right now, I got majority of my strength back to all the stuff I was doing before. And it sucked when I first gotten back home, not being able to play video games like I'm used to. But because I was playing it on the tray, which was the OT's recommendation. Horrible recommendation, by the way. But once I had it off of the tray, I had no problem. I was clapping so many people in Fortnite, it was nuts. But yeah, through a bunch of OT and therapy sessions, I'm basically back to where I am. And I just had to add some rubber bands on my Rex arms to get them to work for me again. So, but yeah, that's basically where the story ends, or at least everything that's notable for me to talk about, where it all ends.
I mean, yeah. So what? In a month and a half, you broke your leg, almost died. We're doing all right. Sort of almost died again, and now you're back.
Yeah, only in the matter of a month and a half. Life flashing, I guess.
Is there like not that that much happened in like what 40 days? Was it 40? No. How many? That's not important.
Month and a half,
But
6 weeks. Don't remember how many days that is. 7 times 6. I should know that.
I'm afraid to say what it is. It's 42, right? It's 42.
7, 14. What's the Schoolhouse Rock song? That's how I.
Conjunction junction.
No, screw that. But I watched that so many times, like, whatever. 30. Whatever. Forget it. Not
Yeah.
important. Whatever
Well,
6 times 7 is.
I
And
was
do
gonna
not do
say,
the damn
dude,
dance.
I wouldn't do that. I'm not doing that. I was gonna say, like, was there anything in that time span that you felt like you really missed out on?
Marching band.
Marching
Because
band.
I'm graduating this semester, so I missed my last marching band experience, which
Oh
sucks.
yeah, did you get to perform at all? No, not one show. Oh
No.
sh
Yeah. But we got a jam band thing lined up with a few people from over here, so maybe that'll go good. But who
oh,
knows?
damn. So you didn't get to play, and that freshman came in just to play way too loud on all the wrong notes.
Yeah. And he didn't even, like, maybe they didn't let him do sample stuff because I was not there, but I mean, come on. Just let him play samples. It's not like I'm going to come back and play them anyway. But yeah, so I guess the point of all this in this episode isn't look how strong I am or feel bad for me or whatever the hell. It's just this is what can happen. One mistake, one missed seatbelt. And suddenly you're in the ICU dealing with things nobody warned you about. And yeah, disability isn't fragile, it's complicated. And a lot of the hardest parts aren't the fall itself, they're everything that comes after. The systems, the recovery, the stuff people never see. And if you're listening to this and you don't live in a disabled body, this is just one version of what day to day can look like. And if you are disabled, you're not dramatic. You're not doing it wrong. And you certainly aren't alone. This is Adaptive AF. Thanks for listening.